Right, I was saying better say na yedi enkomo ahodo nsem ahodo beto je better say na yedi nkomo ABN say na no dey ade say eye parliament akwa asetena nam so emma majority ko no ekọ eye Adom asem kwoto eye parliament animo say omadaroma ade say companies ahodo bi e Ghana no say ya ye behwe na nka omo no 1D 1F no yetimi amom sika bi amom timi e de aye adwuma no ne ade na timi aboa amom no so timi nya ntoma pa e de fra eba aye tax ho nsensem no a na eno ana NDC amanyoko no aye minority no sorry tia say enya de so meje sa aye tax aye exemption no omo ebeje atomo ne no ene nam so emma aye majority leader aye friends of 12 nhemu ene to mani mo say emra na NDC amanyoko no ewa ban mu no omo hwe eboa aye emma sa aye nipa be aye nipa binum companies bi ebi te say attachment no ne ade no aban netimi emmo mo sa free aye tax exemption ne bi na so eba ne sen na MPP amanyoko na say majority no enko ade omo ye bebi atisa na afei omo ebo atoago omo de nchemu pina na de ato de muhyen yenko na yentie se ne ensempefo nhemu no esi ekoye ba chance na afei ye de nsem no nso ho enkomo
Shatta Cement. Shatta Cement was a company that benefited from this unconstitutional, illegal tax incentive. We all know, by the imperative of the Constitution, it's only Parliament that can impose tax or waive taxation. But some actions of the executive under certain rule of necessity, Shatta Cement was granted a tax waiver. We did not complain because we were told that Shatta Cement was a strategic investor. It did not even come to Parliament. Huge sums of monies, huge, because they said Shatta Cement was a strategic investor. No parliamentary approval. They are a strategic investor. Another company called Dream Reality, with close connections to government at the time. We were also told that Boston Investment, we don't know that company, what they were doing. There's another company by name Boston Investment. They were also granted tax waivers without parliamentary approval. Now let's listen to Honorable Dr. Kesil Atuforsen. I don't know whether the argument of yesterday has changed today. In Parliament, Dr. Forsen, Deputy Finance Minister, etc., as he then was, quoted, said, and I would quote, he said that the tax incentives were not merely considered for the sake of being granted, but that such exemptions were necessary. This Dr. Forsen, as he then was, Dr. Forsen, Deputy Finance Minister, as he then was, he said, if the incentives were not granted, it will result in those investments relocating to other countries. So Dr. Forsen told us that if Ghana did not approve the $882 million to MPS will relocate to Ivory Coast or some other country. And he said, quoting further, failure to grant the exemption could lead them to choose a different location. This is Dr. Forson. He further stressed that tax exemption should be evaluated not only on revenue decisions but on their economic impact. What has changed? I'm not an economist. My respected colleague, the minority leader, is the one who has done economics. He's a tax expert. His argument then was that we should not only look at the revenue, we should look at economic impact. Gentlemen and ladies of the press, you have heard him on the floor of the House. Why has he conveniently chosen to stay away from his own argument? Which argument is to the effect that when you grant tax waiver, it helps the economy, because the private sector person who is having access to these surplus liquidity would reinvest. That is all about it. And there is evidence of economic growth when such opportunities are given to the private sector.
Right. I'm saying any equity a majority kono war I am rashebe jefie mo one century for ancient mo ye tax exemption and some more NDC amanyoko na say minority no abo atu ego no ho ensen so eno no na yeni nkomai.
Okay, so Southern America na no akwakoba adebi say tax exemption some ye ken. If it is political reason tina kukitwa no for no obo agunu a na so man was assemble ne po say ye ma tax exemption a ebema be a businessman be a omo be benefit no wan hwe na makotai aban na chinti dia, because there were times openi bi no yes seminar wa Ashanti region ne friend no apino apia menka ni semna bi ni apino na kens na de semna bebrebe na papa ne ye, and that time etiti room obi say okoto ne semna odebekwa kwaye politics ema enam so nti anche company no eguye nya no nko a na there were other companies almost facing that same thing maybe. There is no problem whatsoever. See a company on my company or what trimupase obi adwuma mankofo anya bia yete se Shatta cement. See a man tax exemption kakra na otumi de adwuma bie mu a adetina na edie akwakoba se saa akwanya kura na yen santwin fam obi foforo yete kroma na yama politics no ewura ya masese ase ye ho hwenyenyi politics na ewura emu ama chese bibi ebeye we don't even think as a Ghanaian, we think as a politician, we think as NPP, we think as NDC. Just say there ebeboa party nko aba de obebo omo de ebeboa oman de obi abu na ni eguso na nkasema ye can say we are at a crossroad. We need to build your friend say our country. Nti say yenye obi na so baba ye adwuma so bi ebeboa ma adwuma koso a anka I don't see say e wo say ye a problem. So what I say based on past records no motumi e de afama ankofo anya ayi no saa de krona na kebetu afaso bi aboama o man na fa ntuma pafra na so so unfortunate say enema enhyeda enkoyi the way say ko timi the American say we should think, behave and live like a Ghanaian. Don't think say o party and your party de buy enti e mo support cause o man ye a eyeme nyina have insurance buy he say o kwa ibi so obi oye party be mu ni and also you have insurance at all na say wo se ye hwewa na ya hwew and ya de ba ko say the sheet.
Right, so for like share na fa comment ni na enso ego comment section ase efa emaye yakramo.